Evening all. Welcome. So here we are, probably 30 seconds early, but I thought I'd get the thing going so that we can get give people time to sort of catch up and go live, watch the go live and sort of come on and see what's going on really. So we're going to spend a little bit of time this evening, a bit more than we've done during the day and on some of the other webinars we've done, because we've got a bit more time over the evening, hopefully, to talk about starting a photography business. The Full Frame Club, as you'll have seen from the bottom here, is live, and we've had lots of people joining already today, which is amazing, which is absolutely brilliant. So very excited about that. Doors are open until Sunday, so you've got 3 days, 2.5 days, however you describe to add that. So let me put a few things on. So let's get the website up here. www.beyond. Spell it might help, might. .com. Have a look, beyondthelensacademy.com. Right, so that's the website. So if you go to the website at the moment, you will find at the top there's a little bit of a video, one of my lives I did the other day, just sort of giving an overview of the Full Frame Club. The ordinary academy membership is available as well for those who are just photographers. Evening, Graham. Welcome. Oh, we got home a bit earlier. Excellent. That's available, but at the top you'll see there's a couple of places where that you can click to, and it takes you to a separate page all about the Full Frame Club, what's in it, what's involved with it, and the pricing, which is ridiculous. To quote, unquote, the finance team. Bonkers, ridiculous. Are you mad? Were the things that were sort of poised at me when I said that's what I want to do. The reason I've done it, when you go and have a look, you'll see the pricing. It's about 25% of what it would normally be in the new year. And that's because it's been a hard year for people. And I know there are lots of people who are very keen, because I've had all the messages, which is why we've sort of set this up, to look at exploring earning a living from photography, whether it's full-time, part-time, just a little bit of money to supplement things. And I don't want any barriers in the way. So that's why we've done it. So if you go and have a little look at that, you'll see it all there. And that's all on the website. So website links in the page below now. And the number's going up now. What I might do actually is just show you the website. I know you can all go and have a look, but while people are logging on to have a look, let me we'll come back here, technology. Oh, so I go share screen. I probably want that one for that, don't I? Nope, I don't want that. Bear with me. We go share screen, do that, and do that. So this is the website. There's me. You click on that, plays a little video. There's a little countdown timer. And then there's this bit here. You click on that red line, it'll take you to the page. I'll do that in a sec. But if you scroll through the site, you'll see lots of information about who I am, why I've set up this business. We've been going a couple of years now, or just under, and helped an awful lot of photographers enjoy their photography better, more, learn more about photography, and a lot of people set up businesses. This is the full membership bit. This is not to be confused with the Full Frame Club. So this is all about being a better photographer. This bit at the top here, same link here, look, is, let me click on it. That is another landing page, tells you more about the Full Frame Club, what's in it, what you get, what's involved, all the features, and then it takes you down to the bottom, a couple of questions, and then the costs. That's what it's going to be next year, £1,497, which is still great value considering that you'll end up with a business at the end of this process. But also you get the Academy membership, which is worth £547. So here are the numbers. Cut to the chase. That's what it would cost you next year. So I'll have a happy finance team then. But right now, less than 25% of it. So £497. Amazing. You get that back after your first order. Right. Back in the room. Hey, brilliant, Ryan. Okay, so where do we go? Let's make a start, shall we? So I'm going to talk you through, obviously, an outline, because there's more of a process to this, which is the whole point of this Full Frame Club. So if you're thinking about doing it, now's the time to jump in, because we've had quite a lot of people already. So let me put this up and see what happens. There we go. Excellent. We like it when it works. Evening, Keith. None of our members been with us for a while. Keith has. Getting ready to set himself up for 2022. And by the way, don't just take my word for it. If you're on the Beyond the Lens Academy Facebook page, if you look at the reviews, you'll see what people are saying. I've put some of them in the landing page for the Full Frame Club, so you can see what people are saying. But I have taken quite a few people from I'd like to earn a bit of money from photography to full-fledged businesses earning income and having a great time. So it's not just sort of a something I'm telling you, don't take my word for it. There's plenty of people who've left quite nice reviews, actually, which is lovely. So let's wind back. Turning your passion for photography into a business. Sounds quite straightforward, doesn't it? And it is not, spoiler alert, as complicated as you might think. It's open to anybody, really. It really just depends how much you want to put into it, and you get out of it what you put into it. I set my business up back in 2015. I'd been a photographer for many years, and just I suppose an amateur, if you like, just sort of not earning money from it, just enjoying it, really enjoying it. And then I started to think, I wonder if I could do this on a part-time basis, because I was doing management consultancy at the time. Long story short, here I am 5 years later with it didn't take 5 years. Within the first year, I ended up with a very successful business, but it's still going and growing rapidly, which is amazing. But one of the challenges which has led to me setting this up, the exclusive Full Frame Club thing at the bottom here, is that it was very difficult to find information. There wasn't anything that was cohesive in one place. You're sure you could go on Google and YouTube and find it in bits of what you wanted to find about aspects of it, but there wasn't a place where you could join and with an interest in photography and take it to the full level of being a full-time photographer. Or if you're just interested in learning more about photography and all the various things that we do in relation to that, you can just join as an Academy member. That's there. That's also available to you. So that's why we set it up, and it has been an absolute storm of a success. Lots of very happy members in the Academy who've stayed with us for some time now, going on 2 years, which is great. So that's a background, and that's why it's always worth sort of giving you a bit of a flavour of who I am. So let's have a look at some of these slides, shall we? It's not death by PowerPoint, and it is interactive. So you've got any questions you want to ask me, please do. So this is my background. This is me, Carl Thomas Photography. These are the sort of things that I do, who I'm known for. I've become quite a specialist at it, and quite well known in the UK, to say the least, which is great. Won a few awards, done some commercial work, been in magazines, quite often get asked to sort of do work for sort of corporates and stuff, which is great. But that's not because I'm a wildly fantastic photographer. It's because I put together all of the nuts and bolts of the business properly, or in a way that works well for me. So that's part of what I will be sharing tonight in terms of some of the areas to talk about, but also particularly what you get if you decide to become a member of the Full Frame Club. So what are the challenges? And there are lots, and this is only brief parts of it. But the first one, well, I wouldn't say it's the first one necessarily, but one of the most common is confidence. There are some of the people who've joined already, and some of the people who have registered and are probably going to be joining later or over the next day or so while the doors are still open, have said this in their sort of registration forms, or when they've joined, they've filled out the membership profile form. And it's quite common, and it's common, I guess, in any business, but more so in photography, because there's a thing when, if you're a carpenter, you go and, put some stairs in for somebody, there's your stairs, you charge for it. Electrician and whatever it is you're doing in those kind of businesses is more straightforward. When you are asking people to pay for photography, that's your artwork. That's something that you've personally created in a way and in a style that is about you. And it is a thing, definitely. The other reason for it, I think, having studied this for many years now, is that photography is generally a lonely sort of a solace, lonely type sort of pastime. So you don't necessarily get lots of feedback to say whether you're good, bad, or indifferent. And also, I suppose the third point is creatives, artistic people quite often are not necessarily the most extrovert people, more often than not introverted. So those are all things there. Now, confidence is something that we work on considerably in the Academy. The fact it exists helps confidence, because the first thing you're going to do is you'll be part of a Facebook group with 100 or plus people in there, or hundreds of people in there who are supportive. Whether you're just a beginner or you're a pro or you've got some challenges, they will help you, as will I. So I'm about to cover all the things you need in relation to that, but it's an important part of it. The feedback loop that exists, because we do image critique reviews on a group basis, we do weekly masterminds, which are all live, by the way, and then you're not subscribing into some bunch of stuff that's just recorded. Nothing wrong with those platforms, and a lot of our content's already there. You log on, there's like a smorgasbord of stuff to have a look on, but we create stuff and add it every week. 2 or 3 times a week I'm live, doing like I'm doing now. And if this was a webinar, this would be uploaded into the portal, your own library, within 24 hours of it being live, if you weren't able to watch it live, if that makes sense. So that's a big part of it. We also do one-to-one work with members. So part of this club, where we're talking about pricing or profit or whatever it might be, are we doing that on a one-to-one basis with people as well as groups? So it's important. Equipment. Some people think, and it's not uncommon in photography, that you need the latest, biggest, most expensive equipment. Not true. You do not need. You need to have a camera that takes a decent photo, but that doesn't have to cost £5,000. It can cost £500. It's about how you use the equipment. It's a big part of what we are trying to do and do successfully in the academy, whether you're just a photographer or whether you're a professional photographer or somewhere in between. Getting the best results out of the equipment you've got is important. Now, let me give you an example of that. If I've got both pictures. Let's try and think I've got it now. Bear with me. Right. Okay. So here we have that it? Yeah. A shot I did on one of our trips away. Signature photography retreats, we call them. All information on the website. It won a little competition on Farlows in the field. A lovely shot of a salmon, nice and sharp. I use a 1DX Mark III with a 70-200 Mark III. 1DX Mark II, and the 70-200 Mark III 2.8, favorite lens in the world. So expensive bit of kit, granted. This was photography, a shot that was done by one of our members that was with me at the time, and I was helping them through it. Now, you wouldn't be able to tell. If I'd submitted that, that would have won. That was taken on a 70D. Now, any of you knows about Canon stuff. Probably, they don't make it anymore. That's been superseded 3 or 4 times, and you could probably get one used on eBay for 300 quid. So the point I'm making is a big part of what we do for the pros, as well as the what I call order members, the full members, is help you make sure that you buy what you need and not not any more than that, because it is a waste of money to go and spend 5 or 6 grand on loads of posh equipment before you've got a business that's making money. And you don't need to do that to get there. So that's a big part of one of my bugbears, really. Next thing that comes up in terms of challenges, this always makes me laugh, this one. People will not pay for my work. I'm not so sure. I mean, really? And not normally when we have that conversation with people, it's because they've been chatting to their friends and their mates and their friends and family down a pub or wherever it might be. And quite often, more often than not, that's because they don't necessarily understand the value of photography. They don't, and they probably wouldn't be your ordinary client. The people that are going to understand the value of your work are not necessarily the people in your close friendship group. Not always, but not necessarily. So don't just take for what people locally say to you. I charge £149 for a photo session. Some people think that's extortionate. I don't. But and I've charged that from day one. That's the other thing. So don't think about it being I'm going to set my business up and I'm going to start at 50 quid, include all the digitals, and then when I get better, I'll charge more. Big mistake. Difficult to put your prices up once you've got going. And so it's better to stick with it, and that's a big part of what we do in the academy. So people will pay for your work. Trust me. I've got clients, members, clients, however you want to describe them, who had the same thoughts, who are now up and running, full-time and part-time, earning 4-figure orders quite regularly from clients, whether that's equine or dogs or whatever it might be. It's very, very doable. Very doable. So don't let it bother you. And this fourth one on this page kind of, it's kind of connected. People will say, oh yeah, but there's another equine photographer down the road, and they or locally, and they charge this and they give that. It's like, well, so you set yourself apart by the style of photography that you do, which can be different and unique, and it is your photography, and there isn't another you. Provided you don't go and copy somebody else's work, which does happen, and I would advise against that. So don't worry about that. If the Michelin star restaurant, not that I'm suggesting I'm a Michelin star restaurant, but this is a bit of a good analogy, I think. If the Michelin star restaurant suddenly sees the burger man setting up across the road in the lay-by, do you think he's worried? No, not at all. It's cheaper and it's food, but what he offers is different. Let's go back to comments here. What we've got here. Yes, Graham, that's right. Yeah, so I charge £149. That effectively gets, and there's a big section of my website and on the top of the Facebook page that explains that. Quite a long description of what it all is, because there's quite a lot involved. But yeah, that's the shooting and the editing, and then the sort of the gallery of watermarks on. Then from there on, the next stage is, do you want the big frames? Do you want albums? Do you want whatever? And so yeah, that's what we're doing there. So don't worry about cheap competition. Don't worry about it. There's plenty of it. There's always going to be somebody that does it cheaper than you. And dropping pricing is a short-term fix to a long-term death. It just does not work. And if you put yourself in the same prices as the burger van down the road, you're suddenly competing with hundreds of people offering pretty commoditized products. Not a good idea. So not uncommon, but not a good idea. So this is a thing that I love, and this is partly why we've got this club, and I've got so many people who've joined now and can't wait to get going, as it were. But make a start. Don't talk about it. Stop thinking about it. Give yourself a sort of make a resolution. Like, well, I actually am going to have a go at this, and I'm going to look to make some money on a part-time basis, $3,000 a month or something, or I want to make a living out of it, quite a lot more. But the first thing you've got to do is to make a flipping start. Because if you don't do anything, and I would say, wouldn't I, but I'm going to, join the Full Frame Club. Make a start. It's not a fortune to join, and you will end up with a business that makes money. So anyway, there's my little soapbox bit. But the things to do, what does that look like? Well, start networking. Start understanding, where your clients might be. So, as a dog photographer, for example, that's what I do. And I've been in this local area for a while now. So I went to all the vets locally, I put little posters up, had a chat with them. I went to all the groomers, had a chat with them. And they're like, oh, yeah, no, we do get asked about that quite a lot. So it's in a way, it's like a sense check just to make sure that there would be clients out there. We know there would be, but it helps the chart. So networking, that's an important part. Mastering your craft. So if you want to be an equine photographer, make sure you can take a photo of a horse. I know it seems mad, but, horse photography, equine photography is different. We've got a number of members in the club that have done that or do that, as well as dog photography. Dog photography is very different to wedding photography, is very different to headshot photography, very different to, babies and stuff. So make sure that you can do a decent job of what it is that you're looking to sell. Now, a big part of what we do in the club is help you with that, because we've got hundreds of members, all of which have done different things. So as well as my sort of background and skill, because I don't just do dog photography, that's my business, but I've done equine, I've done landscapes, I do all sorts, headshots, anything. So get used to using your camera, master it, keep on at it, because that is what you're going to get paid for. And now, personal style kind of follows, because personal style is I did a webinar earlier on this week about it. So if you scroll up and down the Facebook page, you'll find the playback, if you like, the recording of what I did. I can't remember what day it was, but it was earlier in the week. But I'll tell you. Let's have a look. I think it was. It wasn't Monday. It was Tuesday at 3 o'clock this week. I did a Facebook Live like this, all about personal style. So you can have a look at that for a bit more detail. But effectively, developing it is what your work looks like. It's making sure that you've got something that is a brand that makes you, in a sense, like available to be booked. Because if you're just another photographer who does dogs or does horses, and you don't stand out, how are you going to get booked? Another tip in relation to personal style is I'm not a fan, and it generally doesn't work that well, of having, when I do lots of stuff, look, let me show you some pictures after all it is photography. So, I do doggy stuff. So that's when I was with Kaylee Greer in the south of France. Yeah, Kaylee Greer, dog breath photography, friend of mine. But yeah, I do, get me pictures up, all this sort of stuff, look. Long exposures, landscapes, wildlife things. I'm just flicking through them now. Look, some of it quite challenging photography, but I don't put it on my website because I want people to come to me and my Facebook page and go, oh, that's that Carl Thomas bloke. Yes, he does those outdoor shots of dogs looking natural in their own environment, in action stuff, running around. That's my person. That's what I'm about. And so it's really important to help define it, but make sure you stick to it. Because if you start chopping and changing or adding on these other things, you will make it harder for what the client is looking for to become apparent on your business. So important. Getting started, make a start. Getting started, really important. Big part of what we do in the club, accountability and mentorship. So I shall touch on that in a minute. So obviously you need to start thinking about a portfolio, and that's quite a big part of what we work on together. What are the sort of 10 images, 15 images that represent what you're about? What is your brand? What would you say if you had to pick 5 or 10 images to represent what you're about or what you're looking to be about? And get that done, and then that becomes part of your Facebook page and part of your website. Now, a Facebook page and website for some people can be quite overwhelming. It's not. you could set up now, and bear in mind we do one-to-one support in this group, so that literally be you and me live like this, and I can share screens and say, right, this is how you get your Facebook page set up. You can get your Facebook page set up with a nice little logo, like the one up in the corner, wherever it is. I don't know, over that side, where it says Bill Lens Academy. That's a PNG logo. Got that done for 10 quid in 24 hours. So you could have a nice little logo that represents your business once you decide what you want to call it, of course, which is important. And have your Facebook page and your website up and running. I use a company called Smug Mug, so it's a sort of, they've got lots of themes. They're a huge company, very specifically based on photography clients, and you can be up and running in 24 hours. In the basic framework, there's quite a lot more to it than that, but it's not onerous. And if you've got somebody like me in your armory that can help you and say, right, try this, do that. This is how I do my galleries. And actually, if you use the same people I use, we can even share pages, and I can show you how to do it. Not hard, but important, because once you've got a portfolio and you've got your personal style and all that kind of stuff, you need to be able to say to people, it's like a shop. Think about bricks and mortar shops. You've got to have a window that says, we're open for business. That's what we're calling ourselves. In my case, Carl Thomas Photography. And in the window are pictures, beautiful pictures of dogs in frames that are treasured images that people spend thousands of pounds on and keep in there above their fireplace or wherever it is at home for years. And so without the Facebook page, the website, because obviously, generally speaking, it's going to be a digital thing. Some people have got studios, and we've got some people that have done that, and some people have got little shops. But the majority of people are going to be working digitally. So keep in mind, you want to get that right. Product offering is another important part. So apart from the initial cost of the photo session and how that works and what's involved with that, what are you going to offer? Are you going to offer frames? Are you going to offer photo books, little photo books? Are you going to be doing photo albums? What is your product offering? And obviously the next thing, which is kind of connected to it, is what are you going to charge? And trust me, you'll be charging a lot more than you think you're going to charge, because that is so common with photographers. They always want to charge a low amount. Oh, I'm not sure I could charge that. I don't know. And if you think like that, you're not going to get the money you want. And if you think like that, that's going to come across. So, for example, if I'm on a phone call with a client about, I don't know, some digital images or a frame or whatever, and say the frame is, well, I think what's mine. So a frame like the one on the wall behind me is about 600 quid now. It's quite a lot of money. Lovely though, hand finished and everything else. And I say, oh yeah, that particular frame is X, Y, and Z size, and it's £600. That makes it sound like I'm not confident about it. I feel a bit guilty. Whereas if I say it's a beautiful frame, it's called a clarity, it's got this lovely finished edging on it, and it comes in black and brown, and the white bit can be white or can be different colours, and they're £600. Sometimes people have bigger ones, smaller ones, and you just talk about it in a confident way. That's a big part of what we do in the club, and that's a big part of selling. And there's the same in the written word. So whether it's messaging, because a lot of what you'll be doing will be over email and messaging, very important. Getting organised, getting and keeping organised. You could see my desk, which you can't. You'd laugh. Not the fact that I've just got a flipping speeding ticket as well. Annoying. Anyway, although only a few miles over the limit, so I should get away with that for the driver awareness course. But anyway, long story. But yeah, so get organised. Have a process. So what I mean by that is there's a number of aspects to that. But from a point of view of your customers, when it comes into lead management as well, what is the process? So somebody phones you, messages you, sends you an email. You're going to go, well, I'll send them an email back saying, thanks for your inquiry, and answer the question. But have a process written down. It's a big part of what we encourage and help people to do in the group is, okay, so if somebody inquires, what do I send them? Now, I've got on my Facebook page, if you look at it, on the Carl Thomas Photography, on the dog photography one, a thing that says how a photo session works. And I've got it on my website as well. So that when somebody inquires, because a very typical inquiry that comes into my business will be, oh, hi, Carl, I love your work. I've noticed you've got a promotion on at the moment, or been following you for ages. I'd like to book a session. What are the next steps, or how does it work? So if I'm out, because that's social media, a lot of the inquiries are coming in the evening when you might be out with friends or whatever. And it's really important to respond quickly. So part of my process is, as I've got that, I get my phone and I can respond and I send them a link. So I go, thanks for your message. Lovely to hear from you. Yeah, here's a link to how a photo session works. What kind of dogs you got? I can do that in like 5 seconds, maybe 15 seconds. I've responded. So in terms of lead management, I'm getting back to them really quickly. It's a little process that I've developed. because I just click and copy the link and paste it, rather than typing in, this is how it works, I'll come and meet you, and all the stuff that's in there. I don't have to keep typing it out. So have some kind of process that is going to make life easy for you that you can stick to. Once somebody's inquired, then you sort of say to yourself, right, what's my step? So you can use spreadsheets, you can have post-it notes, notebooks. You don't have to have a very posh CRM system. They are good, and I do recommend them, but they're not an absolute must. Somebody's inquired, you've responded on day one. How long do you give them before you respond? Or chase it up, follow it up? Is it a day? Is it 2 days? Whatever it is, stick to it. Have a system. And this sort of follows into kind of lead management. It is all about that. So turning a lead, somebody that says, "Oh, hi, I'm interested," slightly warm lead, but nevertheless, into that's great. I'd like to book it, and then following on from that, I love the gallery. I want to buy the whole lot, and can I have 2 big frames and a small stand-up frame for my daughter, or whatever it might be? That's a process. And then the lead management, you need, in order to get to that, there are lots of things that are involved: pricing, profit, getting everything right, product offering. But the process is important, because without the right process, it won't work. And it is so common. I've worked with so many photographers and helped them where they're great photographers, take fantastic images, but they're not making money because they don't have a process in terms of the selling process, or they are not charging the right amount of money. And so they're not making any money, not making any profit. So that's important. It might go without saying, but I'm going to say it anyway. The third point on this little chart here, invoicing. You need to know how to invoice a customer. What are you going to do? Are you going to have an invoice created in, QuickBooks or Sage? Are you going to use PayPal like I do? Whatever you're going to do, get it set up, make sure it works. Make sure it's a simple process as well, because there's a thing called buyer's remorse in the sales world. So somebody says, yeah, I'd like to book that. And you go, okay, this is how much it costs. And for me, I go, brilliant. All I need is your email address. I go onto my PayPal portal. I create an invoice, send it. It takes me about a minute, and it looks all very professional. All they've got to do is click on it. They can pay via PayPal. They can pay via their debit or credit card using the PayPal portal. No problem at all. If I sort of say to them, oh, let me send you bank details, I'll do that on an email and all that kind of stuff. They then got to go into their bank and set things up. I know that's a lot easier these days than it used to be, but it's still more steps. So you need to make it slick, quick, and easy in order to make sure that you get your clients where you want them to be and where they want to be, because they don't want to have a complicated process to deal with you. So we're going to talk a bit more in a minute, but that's the last of the slides you'll be pleased to hear. But I love this Zig Ziglar statement. You don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great. Boom. Very, very apt. So any questions? Let's have a little look. No, nothing there yet. Right, okay. I'm going to talk through now some of the stuff that's in the Full Frame Club. What does it look like, and how does it work? So it's physically an online platform, and part of Beyond Lens Academy, which we set up a couple of years ago. And it's a specific club, and it's a product. And so you log on. Once you subscribe, you get access to the Full Frame Club, and you get access to the Academy membership, which is all the stuff about learning how to use a camera and everything. It's an amazing bit of kit, that is. And there's a whole raft of content in the Full Frame Club already, from sort of like the school of 2020/21 of people that have been in through the Academy. So we've done lots of work, done lots of online stuff, lots of webinars, lots of one-to-one stuff like that. A lot of that, or pretty much all of it, not the one-to-ones, but all of the live stuff has in the Academy. So you'll be faced with a smorgasbord of content that you could start consuming straight away. But the good news is, unlike a lot of platforms out there, all of which are very good, we are a live, ongoing, organic platform. So we are every week. I've done 2 this week in the Academy, only because I spent more time on Facebook this week because we're opening the doors and want to let you all know about that. One was what we call a freestyle, where we just go live and members will come along if they're available, and we chat about whatever they want to talk about. So they ask me the questions and I put it up. The next one I did was editing workflow and the importance of it and how it works and what I do. So, for example, and those 2 are live like this. Members who are available, because they're scheduled, can come along and comment and ask questions. That then is uploaded into the portal. So what you see when you log on, if you become a member, will be the recorded versions of those, and they're done every week. So some of the stuff that's in here, I mean, I've touched on it on the presentation, but all of the soups and nuts in business setup. Are you going to be a limited company? Are you going to be a sole trader? What are the pros and cons? Not that we're accountants or business advisors, but I've got enough business to be able to help you with that. do I want to be full or part-time? What does that look like? What are the pros and cons of it? I started off part-time because, I thought, well, it's a bit of a hobby. Let's get a Facebook page and website set up and see what happens. And if this is genuinely my position when I first set up, was, well, if a few people pay for my work, that'd be great, because it costs a bit of money to have a camera and a lens or two. And then a few people did. And then they did a bit more. And now we are with 30,000 people who follow me, and trying to keep up with it is hard at times, which is great. But that's because I've got the pricing right. I charge a fair price for the work I deliver. I've got lots of happy clients. Have a look, lots of wonderful reviews. And that's a really important part of what we talk about. And it'll be different for everybody, and it's not mandated. I'm not going to be saying to you, you must charge X, but we'll explore it together. And that's the important thing, to help you get to a point where you're comfortable with what you want to charge. And importantly, that it allows you, when you take away your, what I call cost of doing business, so all the other costs, the fuel to get there, the cost of Adobe subscriptions, and all those other bits and bobs, and they can add up, can be quite a bit. And your time, of course, making sure that what's left is an acceptable amount for you. So we spend quite a bit of time on that. I've touched on the webinars, but they are regular. So every week we'll be doing 1 or 2 at least for the group, and then individual one-to-ones where we need to have a conversation about whatever it might be, your own personal pricing, or some challenges you might be facing, or a client that you've had that's been difficult or been awkward, or you didn't really gel or it didn't work well for you. So all that kind of stuff. I've touched on this. So important. All of the above and all of the following are pointless if you're not going to make a profit from it. Unless, of course, you want to be a charity. And some people do. Some people do it because they just love it. That's fine. But that's not what we're about here. Mentorship. That's kind of me, really. I'm, as you can tell, I'm slightly enthusiastic. So I will work with everybody who's come through the academy, which was called, what was previously, what is now the exclusive Full Frame Club, used to be called Pro Aspiring Pro. And they've come in part-time, full-time, and they've spent a lot of money, quite a lot more money than you can join for at the moment, which is great. And they've ended up with business, whether it's full or part-time, and I've helped them along the way. And what does that look like? Sometimes, so I'm thinking of one client in particular who, the first few photo sessions, he just kind of struggled a bit, because when you get in front of a client, your first sort of client, it's kind of like, it's a bit different, because you've got to be thinking about interacting with the client, asking the client to do whatever it needs to be done in relation to the dogs or wedding or headshots or babies, whatever it is, equine. And that can be a challenge. So we did one-to-ones every week for quite a while. In fact, we did 2 in 1 week, just to get over that sort of hurdle. Now that particular photographer is doing extremely well. And so that's important. So mentorship, somebody who's going to help and support you through the sort of the challenges of getting yourself set up. But this next bit, really important, accountability. I'm going to be there. So when you say, like, next week, I'm going to talk to you about my website, I've got some ideas, or I've got an idea of a brand, or I'm going to agree my pricing and my product offering, I will be on your shoulder saying, great, have you done it? Why not? I'm not going to be teacher, so to speak, and giving you a load of grief, but I will be encouraging you in a positive manner to get stuff done, because if you don't, nothing's going to happen. And we are photographers, blokes probably more so, but are very good at procrastinating. Yeah, I've got my brand done. Yeah, now it's good. I've got my logo. I'm just tweaking logo a little bit. I've done this course. I'm doing that. Yeah, what have you done? Have you got started? Accountability. Oh, back up. This looked up. Personal style. Help you through that. Very important. I touched on that in the previous presentation. Strategy. We talked about that. And that will evolve, but it's going to be different for different people based on where they are in their life cycle. So some people are younger, some people are older, so they'll be more energetic, less energetic, full-time, part-time, and also the kind of business, what the genre of photographer they want to get into. Because not everybody's dog photographer in this club, just to let you know. Getting customers, I've touched on that in the previous few slides, but it's such an important part. And on the social media side of things, that is an ongoing sort of bowl of treacle. It's constantly evolving and constantly changing. So skills and equipment, we've talked about that. Editing. Now, I'm an Adobe accredited associate, so that means I'm pretty well placed to help you with all your editing requirements. I'm a real fan of Lightroom. I use Photoshop, but probably 1% of the time. So most weeks we'll be touching on editing. Some of the more technical things, but also workflow, making the process easy, exporting, making images bigger, smaller, watermarking, all that stuff that, unless you know how to do it, might seem like a minefield. So we cover all that. Portfolio creation. Just checking a couple more things here. Only a few more, and then I'll answer any questions and leave you in peace. So making sure we've got the right sort of set of images to sort of show your work. Once you've got your personal style together and your genre agreed, let's get a nice palette to put up there, the shop window. And this is an ongoing thing. So I'm talking about this very regularly. You know, TikTok seems to be the latest thing, and TikTok, by the way, is not all for children doing all this stuff. It's quite a good platform for business. So I've only literally this last week opened an account, thought, well, let's have a go at that. And I have to tell you, the video views I'm getting, I've put, I think, 4 posts up there on my dogs with some funny little text and some funny music, and it's gone nuts. So we'll see. So that's just a sort of an overview. I say just, that's 40 minutes. Goes quick, doesn't it? But, you know, getting a business, the key to this really is if you want to set up a business, full or part-time, it is very doable. Provided you've got a camera and you've got access and you're prepared to invest a very small amount of money in the scheme of what you're going to get back into the Full Frame Club, then I would suggest you do it, because I've yet to have anybody join that club. And bear in mind, the people who have joined in the past have paid nearer the kind of figures that it will be next year, and still making more than enough money to cover those costs and some. Otherwise, they wouldn't be here, and they wouldn't be giving you the nice reviews or giving me the nice reviews. So that's the thing to think about. In terms of timing, people often say to me, right, well, can I join it like next week? Can I do it in January? It's like, well, the way we operate is we are what's called a closed membership, which basically means we are closed and only open a couple of times a year. Why do we do that? Because we spend all of our time with the members that are either in the academy part, photographers, or the club, Full Frame Club, working with them, supporting them, and that's me. And you know, I've got a team of people behind me, technical people, but it'll be me. So I don't want to be spending all my time doing sales and marketing when I've got a whole bunch of new members who are trying to get business set up. So that's why we do it. So if you want to join, now is the time, because the financing went nuts, but the pricing is there. It's very competitive. You will get that back and some, and it's only available at that rate until Sunday. And we've had quite a few members in already, so I'm really looking forward to getting started with it all. But yeah, and if you are a photographer, if you're watching this, because it's not all about the exclusive Full Frame Club, is something I've been focused on because it's a bit new. But in terms of the academy membership, you can do that, and that's all on the website, and that's open for membership. And the kind of stuff that we're talking about there that's where we'll get into, you know, long exposures, using filters. This is when we're in Isla, using filters for this sort of stuff. Wildlife photography, you know, all this kind of stuff. I'm up in the Cairngorms on the Highlands and Cairngorms in February. That's full, that one. You know, this might seem basic for some of you, but it's really important. The exposure triangle. If you're a beginner and you want to get off auto, you want to get off this dreaded button. Where is it? I've got a picture of it. There it is. Getting off auto, taking control of your photography, big part of what we do. And you know that can be important for pros. You know, it's more likely to be the domain of amateurs and beginners, but getting off auto is an important thing so that you can start being able to do stuff like this, and just to highlight a point about not needing to have the best equipment in the world. This is a picture of my dog Badger, who was looking out the window. I sat on the sofa a while ago, so I took this photo. And I put it up, and it got like 1,000 likes or something ridiculous. And all the questions were, "Oh, what kind of camera was that? I love the settings." It's done on a smartphone. So, not that I'm suggesting you use your smartphone for a business, particularly, although it's probably going that way a bit. You do not need the most expensive equipment in the world. You know, start looking at things like depth of field. You know, how to manage it, what is it, how to make your images stand out, long exposures, and so on. Black and white photography, very dramatic. Here's some of my action stuff. Look. Did that when I was working with Claudio. You might have seen him, Pichelli. Nice chat in Nikon Ambassador. The other thing we do is we go away. So this was Isla. And that was in June of this year. And in October this year, we stayed in the Highlands I was up there for 3 weeks, actually. So we had 3 separate weeks with different clients on, and we stayed in this beautiful place, which is where we're going back to for the winter one, which is full. There is on its own little lock, and that's a picture of the side of the hill facing down the lock. And then we're going to Mull. So these are what's called signature photography retreats. The Mull one is actually available on the website. So you do that. So if you go on the click on the website, you'll see it. There are 2 spaces left. So they'll be gone. I suspect they'll be gone for Christmas. Here it is, look. Nice picture. There we go. That's where we're staying. Absolutely beautiful, amazing. That's the lounge, dining room. Sorry, that's a sort of standard accommodation. I run these with a chap called Alan Ward, very good friend of mine, very accomplished videographer and photographer. And so between us, we tend to have sort of 8 people on these trips, all fully catered. So decent, proper cooked breakfast in the mornings, nice, really nice meal in the evenings. Sandwiches, stuff during the course of the day because we're going to be out with our cameras. And, photography support and one-to-one help, but not overly intense. So people bring their partners. There's the ability for people to bring their partners. Quite a few people are bringing partners and other halves, if you like, on the Mull trip, because it's just a great time to be. It's a great place to go. The scenery in these places is amazing, and it's a really good way to get really connected with your camera, but have a bit of a break as well. So, what else can I tell you? That's probably it. I think. How are we doing? Blimey, 40 minutes. I'd be all night talking to people like this. But all I can say is, if you are thinking about setting up a business next year, I say next year, in what will be effectively a few weeks' time, getting started, because Christmas is next week, then the exclusive Full Frame Club is something you need to have a serious look at and have a consideration for it. Once the door's shut on Sunday, we probably will open again in March, and it will be the kind of prices that I've advertised on there. It certainly won't be quite like this again, because the finance team will go nuts. So yes, definitely do that. And it shuts on Sunday. So, and it happens every time we've opened these doors. On the Monday, I get several messages. Yeah, sorry, I didn't, I was going to, but I was busy. Can I, can you let me in? It's like, and I always say no, because I don't think it's fair to sit here and say all the stuff I've said and, give all the support out and everything else, and then say, right, get yourself joined. And by Sunday night it closes, and then let a load of people in on Monday. I don't think that's fair. So I don't do it. And people get quite frustrated, but it's pretty clear. There's a countdown time on the website. So it's pretty obvious that on Sunday night, midnight, we will be shut. I normally do it before that, actually, because most people are going to have joined normally in the first couple of days. So today, tomorrow. So there you go. So unless there are any more questions, I'm going to leave you in peace. Have a lovely evening. And I will see. I've got a couple tomorrow. I'm going to touch on confidence in a little bit more detail, and sort of how you manage the bloke down the road who's charging next to nothing. So we're talking about that tomorrow, and I'll probably talk a little bit more similar to what I've talked about today. So look, I appreciate you coming along. Graham, Ryan, Keith, great to hear from you. See you making comments and watching there. And so Ryan, Graham, I hope you're in. Keith's already in. I've not checked my phone yet, but I've quite a few people in during the course of the day, so I haven't been able to keep up with all of it. But if you're not, get yourself in there. And I look forward to working with you all. See you later. Thanks a lot. Bye.